Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Shout out to anybody new locked in, and as always, thank you to the subscribers. Gratitude to everybody. Let's talk about Bud Crawford and his road to 154-pound undisputed, which would be an amazing achievement. And actually, there's a little bit of boxing history I want to include. I'll put that in towards the end of the video. The only fighter to have done that before, because I like to bring in a bit of history. I could use patching up my boxing history, to be honest. So every time I do a video, not every time, but a lot of times, I'll try to bring some history in, because I think it's really important and it's quite interesting as well, because I want to learn a bit more about the history as well. But anyway, so he's got this fight August 3rd with Israel Madrimov, right? And the more and more I think about that, I just do not think this is going to be a competitive fight at all. I think Madrimov, I've spoken about this in several other videos, I think he's got some interesting footwork and good style, very athletic. He's actually a former gymnast, and like when you look closer to it, he has got some grace, but he's done it, it's a very slower level. And when you are dealing with someone whose intel processing ability is at the highest order, he's going to be able to read this. And I also talked about Madrimov when he leans in with his jab. I'll show the clips again for anyone that missed it.
Avoid those punches coming his way. 5 kilos at middleweight. I thought he looked absolutely massive. Sir, that is a tough school.
Spence. Back comes Crawford with the jab. Down goes Spence. How quickly that changes.
He leans in, and there is a left uppercut there, or a swivel jab, the same way he caught Errol Spence. You know, that's just like, it absolutely is screaming out for him to get counterpunched. And, you know, Bud Crawford is an elite counterpuncher. It's, you know, I was just thinking the other day, man, like, it's like such a shame that he's almost done with his career. I feel like we were just getting started. He's just an absolutely amazing fighter. And, you know, I hope for his sake he can get this 154-pound undisputed, because, you know, having someone like him in the sport has been a major blessing, because he's an old school throwback fighter, works unbelievably hard, doesn't do any of the BS, wants to just fight. You know, I know there'll probably be sides saying, you know, he messed around with negotiations, but I don't think so. I think true, he's a throwback fighter, and he wants to fight everybody. You know, people saying that he's ducking boots, you know, I mean, seriously, that's like, I guess, you know, in essence, technically, it is a duck, but if you're in his position and you're at the tail end of your career, you've got these big money fights and you've got history to be made. You know, do you really blame him? Do you really think he's scared of boots? No way. No way. Maybe you'll fight him, you never know. Maybe you will. And actually, I'm making a video on boots and Philadelphia, hopefully in the next few days. I've got quite a few things going on, but I wanted to touch on that fight. I wanted to touch on the homecoming and the importance of it, and I wanted to talk about the history of Philadelphia, because it is such an amazing fight city. It's got a very close place in my heart. Just after following boxing, I think boxing fans, if you're a boxing fan, you look at that city, you can't not be, you know, inspired by it and enamored by it, and I am. And I wanted to do a little piece on the boots fight, Cody Crowley coming up, Eddie Hearn, and how great it is just like that. They're going to take him back to Philadelphia. So there's already something like 12,000 tickets have already been sold, and build him up there, because he's a star. And Eddie Hearn was saying, he's like, I don't understand how why would you not do this to him? Why would you keep him on the bench?
How on earth has Boots Ennis not boxed or headlined in Philadelphia?
It's so crazy. So it's great for him. It's great for, you know, his family, because, you know, they're a fighting family.
It's absolutely crazy. I don't understand it. Is it laziness? Is it you want to keep him in a box?
And it's great for us fans. Anyway, this video isn't about boots, but it's about Bud Crawford and, you know, his dedication to the sport, his commitment to it, his skill set, you know, constantly trying to get the best version of himself. And that's a big part of this channel, is why I follow some of the fighters as hard as I do, because they're inspiring to me, because I'm trying to get the best out of myself. And I think as a human being, when you look up to these guys, and especially Bud, Tim Tszyu, Subriel Matias, I cover these fighters a lot, Jaya Bataya, You know, there's a reoccurring theme. Bruce Carrington, I'm looking a bit deeper into, and he's in there too. Like Shushu, I've got a couple of videos coming out on him soon, but all will come to play. It just takes a while. But Bud Crawford, you know, just that animalistic dog side of him too, where you have the refined, rounded skills of his timing, elite, you know, athleticism. Really, when he wants to put on some athletic ability, he really can.
Yeah, he's back.
Oh, a lunging left hand that backs up Kaliauskas, then an uppercut.
And he's just like that counter punching ability, reading fighters, IQ, you know, and then you have just the savagery. He's probably the best fighter I've ever seen, you know, in real life, if you put them all together. And he's a throwback fighter through and through, and he will be missed in the sport. And I'm making this video, it was the road to 154, but I wanted to, it was going to be about, you know, Bud being underappreciated, really. I know boxing fans really appreciate him. I'm not saying that. I just think that before we blink our eyes, this guy could be out of the sport and we won't realize, you know, what we've actually missed, and we should have celebrated it more, I think, personally. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he isn't celebrated or noticed, or he's definitely in that pound for pound 1 and 2. I think Usyk, given what he's just done, you know, even Bud Crawford said that, you know, coming out, this is why I love him too, because he's so reasonable and fair, and he's like, you got to give this guy respect. He, you know, Usyk probably, you know, even said it could be pound for pound number 1. That's coming from someone that is there, but Usyk, it's like, what have you done for me lately will be that conversation. If Bud beats Madrimov, is he back on top? Probably not. I don't normally get involved in these debates, to be honest with you, but when you have a fighter so great as Usyk just doing what he did, it would probably take a bit more greatness to do that. Now, if Bud becomes undisputed again, then you'd have to be like, okay, he's probably the best fighter again, and he probably will be undisputed. And back to the video, the road to undisputed is obviously he's got this Madrimov fight, then you've got the Errol Spence Fondora fight, that's for the other 2 belts, right? There's another belt that might be vacant right now, but Fondora has got 2 belts. That fight with Spence is happening. They nearly stripped Fondora about for the WBO. I think that might be in talks of taking one of the belts. Essentially, all roads lead to that fight, and Spence Crawford could happen again. Spence Fondora, Crawford Fondora could happen. I say happen again, could happen. And I'd pick Bud to knock both those guys out, and Madrimov. I think he stops all 3 guys. I'd have to find out where this. I'll write on the screen, because this really was a video about the road to undisputed, and I don't even know the road, but I will find it out. But you know, because there's one more belt. I'm trying to think if it's the vacant belt. But at the end of the day, he's gunning for that undisputed, and that'll be an amazing piece of history. Which the only other fighter to do that is Henry Armstrong, right? That is some serious competition, or you know, serious. That's a serious name, Henry Armstrong, amazing fighter from what, 30s and 40s. Just the only thing I don't know about is, like, you know, he was a featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, right? But there would have only been one champion, so I don't know what constitutes undisputed back then. I don't think it can't just be getting the belt, because then everybody would do it. So I don't know if anyone knows that, let me know, because you know, it's just, it can't, yeah, I don't know, but he was it, so they can't just be giving undisputed out for nothing, and that's a massive part of history. So maybe you'd have to fight off, you know, the top contenders in a row or something like that. I don't know, I'd have to look into it. But at the end of the day, that is some serious company that Bud is, you know, rubbing shoulders with. Henry Armstrong, absolute legend. And actually, just, he's an animal of a fighter. He used to go up in weight and just like walk guys down, pressure them, bully them, batter them. Legendary fighter. Anyway, that's it from me, really. Oh yeah, I want to talk about a little bit of the 154-pound division as well, because obviously, look, really disappointing about Tim Tszyu pulling out of that fight. And you know, when you think about it, like when that fight got made, the first thing I thought about was like, wow, is his head gonna heal? Honestly, I'm not just saying it now, but that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, wow. Well, I was like, amazing, because that's a great fight. And I don't think I even spoke about it in the video, to be honest with you, but I just remember thinking, he's got to train. It's not just the cut. It's like, how are you going to spar? You know, the cuts like that take a while. And then when you're training and you're exerting yourself to your, you know, not full capacity, but I just made a video about him and his dad reunited in Thailand, and like, he's working hard. You know, when you're working hard, like, you know, he's working like that cut needs rest. You just got to rest. You can't be training. But, you know, maybe they started sparring and maybe it kicked back up, and the doctors were like, you're going to mess your head up. So it's unfortunate. There's rumors of Virgil Ortiz, you know, Ryan Garcia threw his name in the hat. And just to add another mix to the 154-pound division, if Ryan Garcia does campaign there, wow, that'd be interesting. I don't know what to make of this situation that's going on. You know, he hasn't really handled it well for me. I think if it was me, if you're innocent, and I'm not saying he's guilty, I don't know anything about it really. I know he got found with substances. He failed drugs tests, right? And then the hair follicles came back negative or something like that, and people are saying he's cleared. I don't really know, but if that was me, and someone said, listen, you just popped dirty, this is what came up, I would be like, oh my God, there's no way that I took this. I would do everything in my power and be, you know, not apologetic, because, you know, you're not apologizing for something you haven't done, but I would say, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I promise you now. Not go around, you know, saying the things he's saying, and, you know, it's just like, it doesn't look good. You know, it's like the way you're handling it is like, it looks like you're making yourself look more guilty. But again, I don't know if what happened. I don't know nothing about it. I just know his behavior is very off, and it's a little off-putting. The lead up to the fight kind of bothered me with all the nonsense going on, and there's just habitual line crossing going on. And I know they were selling it, and they probably did sell it, but then, you know, the lack of remorse for being overweight, and the lack of remorse of getting, you know, just didn't care, and it rubbed me the wrong way. But he's going to be in the mix. Then you've got all the other killers in there. Xander Zayas is coming up too. Josh Kelly in the UK. Then you've got Jesus Ramos, Israel Madrimov, obviously, Fondora, Errol Spence, Bud Crawford. I feel like I'm missing a couple too. Virgil Ortiz, obviously. Some great fights in this division. I feel like, help me out if I've missed anyone. But look, that's it from me. I've been rambling a little bit. Bud's road to Undisputed looks clean. I will find out where that other belt is, and hopefully I left it on the screen, and then, you know, we'll cover these fights at a later date. But the Spence Fondora fight is a weird one. I don't know how I feel about that for Spence. He's coming with no activity, coming off the back of a hard loss like that. It's a tough fight for him, but I'd expect Spence, if he's close to, well, I don't know, because Bud made him look the way he did, really. So I don't know. I'd have to really think about that. But it's a weird fight. It's a good fight though. Anyway, guys, have a great week. All right, peace. I'm out.
Boxing.
On edge.